So I have a shelf where the shelf support bent on both ends of the shelf, and I'll show you those. And I'm going to jack it up and then insert and install a new shelf bracket, one that's much more stable, that'll bolt through the wall. And here, I'll show you now. So these supports, you've seen these at stores, I'm sure, before, just couldn't handle the weight of the books on top bouncing around when we're on the road. So I'm going to jack that up to straighten it out, level it out, and then install a new bracket with a bolt going through the wall. And I'll show you how to install that bolt through the wall so that it's completely watertight, airtight, will never leak. So here's the two new welded shelf brackets, which will be much more secure. And I'm going to take these and install them right about like that, next to the original old ones. I'm not going to take those out. And I'm going to mark the spots on the wall, just drill straight through the wall. It's kind of scary the first time you do it, but it's not that big of a deal because you're sealing it weathertight in the end. So that's where we'll be next. So I cut this piece of scrap fence post to just the right height to wedge in under the shelf and push up the front end so that it's more or less level again, so I can install the new shelf bracket. Okay, so I've got the shelf propped up, wedged up so it's more or less level. So I marked the spots for the holes to be drilled, and now we're going to drill them. There's one. And number two. So I have these plates left over from a Abus Lux install that I did on the front door. Won't need it. So I'm going to drill these holes out to 5/16 inch. So here's the butyl rubber. So used for windshields and all sorts of other applications. So it comes in this bead. It's about 3/8 of an inch in diameter. You just stretch it till it breaks off, and then you've got a nice piece for your bolt, use on your bolt. And so now I'm going to apply the butyl to the bolt. I start up the head usually, put a nice big thick blob up there, and then I stretch it down, wrapping around about 2/3 of the way up the bolt, and just twist it on there. So this is just the right amount for one of the bolts. And you see I'm kind of making it into a taper down towards the other end. And this butyl is going to seal into the foam. Remember, we drilled through silverboard foam insulation, so it'll be tight against that foam and as it's smushed in to the hole, because the hole's diameter is exactly 1/4. So this butyl rubber will squish out some and the foam will compress a teeny bit, but it will form a very tight seal. So then I take this first washer, which will keep the bigger plate from bending, just slide it on and make sure the butyl's thin enough that you can get the washer up there. I got to make it a little thinner. And there we go. And this is good. It's going to squish up here by the head, and we want that. And then we're going to pinch off some of the extra, push down some more, get that washer. We're going to reapply that excess back behind the washer so that we get the same smushing out effect from the plate as we slide the plate on now. And here's the plate. Slide it on. Again, it's going to smush it out. We'll just bring back any too much excess back towards the back of the plate, so we get an excellent seal back here. Okay, so this one is ready to go in the hole. And it's mush because it's a tight fit. You really got to press to get it to go in. As you can see, it's quite. And just keep pushing and push and push, and then it's ready to be tightened through the bracket on the other side. So let's go do that. So here you can see one bolt pushed through, and there's plenty of bolt coming through the others from the outside to the inside to get threaded and with the shelf bracket. We're going to slide the bracket on the bolt, and that's seated, and I'm going to apply a washer and a couple of drops of Loctite red. So I've got the Loctite 271 on the bolt, and now I'm going to tighten down the nut. And here you can see the finished brackets are installed, and the shelf is much more level now. And here's the shelf reinforcement washer plates and washers from the outside. And I use a larger washer plate on top because that's where the shelf bracket is pulling in on the outer skin of the trailer. The bottom washer didn't need to be as large because the bracket is actually pushing on the inside wall and not pulling on the outside. Anyway, that's the finished product, and cheers, and we'll see you in the next video.